It's been a slower day in free agency for the 49ers, but that doesn't mean that things won't heat back up soon. In fact, a marquee name is on the radar for the 49ers. Justin Simmons, the four-time All-Pro safety, formerly the Denver Broncos. Mike Silver was just talking about this. This is a player that the 49ers are definitely interested in. The 49ers are looking for a starting safety right now because there are question marks at that position. Deshaun Gibson, who was with the team over the past 2 years, he's no longer under contract, and he's going to be 34 next year. Talanoa Hufanga's coming off a torn ACL. And Jair Brown, although he did deliver some good fill-in work for the 49ers, he's still a young player, and the 49ers would love to fortify that defensive backfield. So San Francisco hosted Rayshon Jenkins, who just signed with the Seattle Seahawks, 2 years, $12 million. I think that contract for a player of Jenkins' caliber was a little too rich for the 49ers' taste, but they would be willing to pay if they can get a good price on Justin Simmons, who is an elite player in this football league. Again, four-time All-Pro Justin Simmons. He's a 30-interception guy. If you watch him in run support, he's a missile. I mean, he's just a really cerebral player on top of the fact that he's got good athleticism. So he knows where to be, and that's what you want out of a safety. You want to have somebody who watches the tape, feels the game. He's intercepted Patrick Mahomes 5 times in his career. That's impressive in its own right. But, I mean, this is a guy that just 2 seasons ago racked up 6 picks over an 8-game stretch. He entered week 8 of the 2022 season with no interceptions because he, for the first time in a long time, had missed a stretch of games due to injury. So this is a guy that's durable, too. The absences are few and far between for Justin Simmons. But he entered week 8 with no picks, and he finished the season leading the NFL with 6 picks, tied for that NFL lead. So Justin Simmons is a guy that you want on your football team. The problem is that he's probably the best free agent remaining, and it's not going to be cheap to pick him up. But if the 49ers can find a good price for Justin Simmons, and that price point might be higher than what Rayshon Jenkins went for to the Seattle Seahawks. It's a matter of value, though, right? And if the 49ers feel that there's true value here to really bolster their secondary, because I do think that they were ready to make a play for Joey Bosa had Joey Bosa been released by the Chargers. Obviously, he wasn't. So there is money, I think, for the 49ers earmarked for an elite player if an elite player does become available for them. That is not to say that there's unlimited money earmarked for that purpose, but there definitely is money earmarked for that purpose for the 49ers to add yet another A-lister into the mix. And this morning I wrote in The Athletic about the 49ers' decline on the defensive line this past year. And they obviously made big wholesale changes on that defensive line. They've got 2,000 new snaps of 2023 production coming in between the 4 signees on that side of the ball. We talked to Malik Collins today over Zoom. That was his introductory 49ers press conference. And Malik Collins said he's excited to get the 49ers over the hump. They want to kick that door down, and one of the primary avenues of trying to do so for the 49ers is to improve a defensive line that did disappoint them last year in many ways, especially in that edge rushing position opposite Nick Bosa, and then with some availability concerns in the middle of that defensive line as well. Obviously, Eric Armstead is now a Jacksonville Jaguar. He signed a deal 3 years, $51 million, $17 million per year. We're going to wait for the actual numbers that come out on that to see what the details are. But Trent Baalke, 49ers GM back in 2015, picked Eric Armstead then, and he's picked Eric Armstead again here in 2024. And at least the initial numbers of that deal suggest that there were teams out there, namely Jacksonville, willing to pay Eric his initially due amount for this 2024 season of about 18 million, whereas the 49ers were not. The 49ers were probably going down to 10, 12 million for Eric Armstead. They just couldn't justify the availability concerns with that salary. They wanted him to take a pay cut, and obviously Eric Armstead disagreed, was not willing to take the pay cut, and the 49ers went to Malik Collins instead, who today I thought another quote from Malik Collins that was something that stood out to me was that he said he's not trying to fill Eric Armstead's shoes. Eric Armstead had huge shoes to fill for the 49ers, right? Eric Armstead in the community, on the field, is a great player for so many years for San Francisco. Malik Collins said he's just trying to be Malik Collins. He's going to be his own brand of defensive tackle. And I think that's good because he's been a good defensive tackle in this league. He may not be regarded as the caliber of player that Armstead was, but the 49ers believe that the durability for somebody like Collins is greater, and they believe that they, combined with Jordan Elliott, who's a rising defensive tackle behind him, and then with the whole makeover of the defensive line with Leonard Floyd on the other side of Nick Bosa, the 49ers feel that they can take this in the right direction after a year of a slide along their defensive line. But, when you look at the big picture of this team trying to build and turn around a defense that slid from number 1 to number 12, you also have to look at the secondary, and you also have to look at that safety position, which has some sketchy stuff going on right now, right? With Talanoa Hufanga coming back from that ACL, with Deshaun Gibson probably not going to be back with the 49ers. If he is, you do have to worry about the age because, as I said, he's going to be 34. So that's why a name like Justin Simmons makes sense for the 49ers. That's why when you're looking for a piece that can bolster your case for a potential Super Bowl title, to take it the next step, to finally beat the Chiefs and Patrick Mahomes. That's why you're looking for a superstar. That's why you're interested in somebody who's intercepted Patrick Mahomes 5 times. This is the type of player that can indeed take the 49ers to the next level as a football team. When we talk about needs for San Francisco, looks like a decent sunset today here on the farm. But when we talk about needs for the 49ers, remaining needs here in free agency, we have to talk about bolstering the defensive backfield. Deommodore Lenoir, I think they would prefer for him to move inside the slot if they could find an outside corner. We've talked about that a lot. Unless they go targeted signing of a nickelback, which is another possible strategy for the 49ers. And then, of course, there's the whole offensive line discussion. And I've already broached this topic several times. There's a lot more value, bang for your buck, ROI, whatever you want to call it, regarding offensive linemen in the draft than there is going to be in free agency. I wouldn't be surprised if the 49ers made some smaller O-line signings in free agency, but just supply and demand dictates that the draft is probably going to be the best way to do that. Where the guard market really took off, so now I'm waiting to see if the 49ers re-sign John Feliciano. That's, I would think, a likely re-sign, but we'll see how much more money he commands. I think he commanded about $3.5 million last year, and he had a good season for the 49ers. So we'll see what happens on that front. But between bolstering your secondary, obviously trying to find another linebacker since Eric Kendricks signed with the Cowboys instead, and of course trying to find a return man. Ray McLeod today signed officially with the Atlanta Falcons. Between all those things, you've got your work cut out for you, and a lot of them still must be addressed in free agency. So stay tuned. I think that the signings are going to pour in here over the course of the next week. It's not all concentrated as it sometimes is. Sometimes teams will sign like 10 guys in one day. Hasn't been the case for the 49ers, but they still have 28 spots on this 90-man roster. They still have those needs to address, and they've got 10 draft picks. So this offseason is going to be a slow burn in a way, probably for the 49ers, unless they go crazy tonight. Maybe I'll wake up tomorrow and they'll have 5 guys signed. But so far, it's been very interesting. So far, they've invested in that defensive line, and it looks like they're kicking the tires on some big names. Justin Simmons is the one that definitely stands out right now. 4-time All-Pro safety. Boy, if the 49ers pick him up, somebody who's intercepted Patrick Mahomes more times than he's won All-Pros, and both of those numbers are high numbers for Justin Simmons, boy, that would be a coup for the 49ers. But either way, they are in the market for defensive back help. All right, that's your update. We'll talk to you soon. Everybody have a relaxing evening.